could be wrong, but he sure aged since he was here before. This kidding me.
Unless it's the. Okay. Well, the light is on, so it's time to get started here, folks. So, welcome this evening to our Albany City Council meeting, and I'll call the meeting to order. And would you like to join us with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mary, could we get a roll call, please?
Olson.
Here.
Sykes.
You.
Bessie Johnson. Kellum.
Here.
Alex Johnson.
Here.
Coburn.
Here.
Knopa.
Here. And Bessie is excused. Okay. First, we do have a couple proclamations this evening to be read. And this is for Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month for May 2019. Whereas Oregon is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety education, and whereas motorcyclists in Oregon recognize the importance of riders to be properly trained in the safe operation of their motorcycle, and whereas it is important that the citizens of our state should be aware of motorcycles on the highways and recognize the importance of sharing the roadway with these fuel-efficient vehicles. And whereas the designation of Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month promotes public awareness of the energy-efficient motorcycle and its proper and safe use of the roads and highways of Oregon. Now therefore, I, Sharon Canopa, Mayor of the City of Albany, do hereby proclaim May 2017 to be Motorcycle Awareness Month in Albany, Oregon, and I encourage all residents to join in this observance. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Albany to be affixed this 22nd day of May 2019. And this is when the weather gets nice. We do see a lot more motorcycles, so it's great to really encourage people to keep their eyes out for them and their safety. There was an event this last Saturday, and it was the Freedom Ride, where a lot of cyclists came to Albany from Vancouver and came down to our Timberland War Memorial, and it's great to see that every year that they're riding together, and it was a very rainy day, and I worried about them with that thunder that we were having and having to drive back on the freeway. So, all right, thank you, folks. And next is a proclamation for Older Americans Month in May 2019. Whereas the City of Albany includes older Americans who richly contribute to our community, and whereas we acknowledge that what it means to age has changed for the better, and whereas Albany is committed to supporting older adults as they take charge of their health, explore new opportunities and activities, and focus on independence. And whereas the City of Albany can provide opportunities to enrich the lives of individuals of all ages by involving older adults in the redefinition of aging in our community, promoting home and community-based services that support independent living, encouraging older adults to speak up for themselves and others, and providing opportunities for older adults to share their experiences. Now therefore, I, Sharon Canopa, Mayor of the City of Albany, Oregon, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2019 to be Older Americans Month in Albany, and I encourage every resident to take time during this month to acknowledge older adults and the people who serve them as influential and vital parts of our community. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Albany to be affixed this 22nd day of May 2019. This proclamation comes from Cascade West Council of Governments, who administers over senior services and disability services. So I'm also on that board, and so we had this proclamation read to the board, and all 27 jurisdictions in that region for our local Council of Governments all read this proclamation for Older Americans Month. Okay, all right, thank you, folks. And now we have a special presentation, and this is for the 2018 Human Relations Awards presented by the Human Relations Commission. Stephanie, so would you like to come forward?
Yes. Thank you. So I'll keep this pretty short and sweet. I'm sure you guys have reviewed about the next 20 pages of your packet. So we reviewed the introduction of the Albany Human Relations Commission and really what our goals are, subject to our the city code. And then I also outlined our monthly highlights for the year of 2018. We attended different events like Coffee with a Cop. We had one Vibe Diversity Day. We also presented awards. We all attended, the Pride March, the Lynn Benton Health Equity Alliance. We represented the city at Mid-Valley Stand Down for Veterans. And we also hosted a really great series this past year called the Invisible Series, talking about, our lived experiences, and we discussed different people and different experiences throughout Albany that might not come across normally. And then we also have the history of the commission in the report, and then subsequent commissioners, kind of a timeline, and where we're at currently. And then I also wrapped up with everyone that's attended any Human Relations Commission meetings since inception, since 2009, and then also a current roster of the Human Relations Commission. Did any of you have any questions about our annual report that we submitted?
Very well done for a report,
Thanks.
so thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions? So, okay, good
Okay.
job, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, and I think next we also are presenting our Human Relations Commission Awards. Alice, do you want to come up and help me? Okay. So we had several people that submitted, we have some finalists for the business classification, and also for the individuals. And so if you want to announce this one, I'll pass this one out. These are for the, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. These are for the businesses, and
Hi, this one is in recognition to the Albany Antique Mall. It's a business that we thought has contributed greatly to our community. And let's see here. Is there a representative of the mall here?
oh, here it is. Yes. Oh, good. Thank you. There you go. And then our next business is actually a nonprofit, and it's the Family Tree Relief Nursery. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, should we present the other business? Okay. So, and then we have our finalist that's getting the Annual Human Relations Commission Award for the business section. It is,
Dropped.
Broken.
No, it didn't broke.
it's wrapped in bubble wrap.
That's a good thing. They knew I was
We have
gonna-
South Albany Community Church. So we have a representative. And they did Do you want to talk about any of the, so they were not, South Albany was recognized for a lot of the community events that they host. Did you want to speak 1 or 2 minutes?
So South Albany Community Church, we've been around for a long time, and we believe in bringing life to Albany. And several of the ways that we do that is once a year for the last number of years, we take our church outside on Sundays, and we've gone and served the community in a variety of ways, cleaning up people's houses and yards, not anything that a lot of you aren't involved in yourselves already. One of the new things we did last year for our community is that we hosted an end of school year carnival. We had north of 800 people show up, and it was just a carnival in our parking lot, and people came and ate food for free and got games and awards and all that kind of stuff. I spent, I think, 3.5 hours in a dunk tank, occasionally getting dunked. So that was good. And then we do also something that a lot of us do is at Halloween we provide a safe place for kids to come. And we had, again, about north of 600 kids come through our facility this last year. And so we look for opportunities that we can serve the community and provide a safe place where kids and families can come and just hang out and have a good time and maybe experience a little bit of life in a new and a refreshing way.
Thank you. So we have 3 for the, we're recognizing 3 individuals that are runner-ups that have strengthened connections within Albany's diverse community. And so the first person that we're recognizing is Patricia Kenyon, if she is here. Okay. And the next person we are recognizing is Sue Goodman.
She moved to Arizona.
Oh, here, I'm just,
I know she just recently moved, and I know we'll be mailing it.
I just opened it.
And Tammy Scubina is our last person. And the individual that is receiving our award for an individual in the city of Albany who has contributed to our mission of diversity, equity, and inclusion here in the city of Albany is Elizabeth Packervan. Thank you. Do you want to talk about any of your community involvement?
Yes. Thank you very much. Well, I moved from Paraguay 4 years ago, and I began to work at Linbenton Community College 3 years ago. To me, Linbenton is the example of those values of being inclusive and giving opportunity to people. And I'm very pleased to serve this community through this institution. And I just want to say that the well-being of the humankind is based on 3 elements: the individual, the community life, and the institutions. So when we all gather together and make the effort to be more inclusive, then we can see miracles in people's life. And I just want to end with, I was thinking yesterday how to have water, we needed the element of oxygen. And to have fire, we also need oxygen. And how those two opposite powers need the same element. And in that way, we can be so diverse and different, but there is something so super powerful, which is love, that can bring unity among us. So I wish you love in your life. I wish you love in your affairs. And I wish you so much love in the way you treat other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And did you introduce or have stand up the other Human Relations Commission members?
So Alice is here with me, and I believe everyone else wasn't able to make it.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for all you do for the Human Relations Commission. So very active group with the city, so we greatly appreciate them. Okay, next we do have a public hearing, and I will open the public hearing at 7:30 p.m. And this starts on page 25. Is staff have a report on this?
Matthew's coming up.
Okay, Matthew.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. So tonight's public hearing is for the Timber Ridge Street Bridge improvements at Burkhart Creek, for a resolution that was adopted back in April of this year at a council meeting. Engineering report and financial investigation were prepared for the bridge improvements at Timber Ridge Street where it crosses Burkhart Creek. Albany's Transportation System Plan, or TSP, shows this bridge crossing, and the need to construct this bridge stems from developments that are occurring on both, whether planned or currently occurring on both the north and south sides of the bridge. The properties to the south have entered into petition and waiver of a remonstrance agreement for forming an OID. The property on the north will be entering into that as part of their conditions for their partition they're currently going through. So staff has prepared a map with the proposed LID boundary and proposed assessments. It's in your packets under attachment B. obviously approval of the attached resolution for this LID, or would form the LID by adopting the engineering and financial investigation report and authorize staff to proceed with the design, bidding, and construction of the project.
Okay. Questions? All right. Okay, thank you, Matthew. And with that, is there anyone that would like to speak on this for the public hearing over the Timber Ridge Street Bridge at Burkhart Creek Local Improvement District? Yep, Mark?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. My name is Mark Grenz, G-R-E-N-Z. I'm with Multitech Engineering, and our office is at 1155 13th Street Southeast in Salem. We represent the property owners that are encompassed by the proposed local improvement district. Your staff, as we've told you before, you have great public works staff. Our group has been having
Mark,
discussions.
I think you can just back up just a little.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that should work.
Our group has been having some discussions with your public works staff with respect to both the bridge itself and the local improvement district. We had a meeting again with Public Works today so that our group could get a better understanding of how this project can be completed, both either through the local improvement district or through a privately constructed project. Tonight, I'm here to ask that council would withhold making the decision, the final decision on this resolution, to give our group an opportunity to continue to work with your staff in the creation of a development agreement that would facilitate the private construction of this bridge. Our clients on both sides of the bridge are willing to complete this project. They believe it's in their best interest, as well as the communities, to build this project as a private facility as opposed to having the city to have to go through a local improvement district. So if we could have that time in order to be able to work with Jeff's group in order to get that development agreement finalized, we think we can avoid the city from having to struggle through a local improvement district that ultimately, when it finally would get going, would likely involve more property owners than just the few that we represent. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have of me on this point.
Any questions?
I have a question of staff in this regard.
Yeah, or is it pertinent, do you think?
Yes,
for
it is pertinent
testimony?
to this very thing.
Okay.
The question to staff is a delay in any way going to cause a major difficulty with getting this done in a timely manner? I mean, we're talking about a month.
Yeah, our plan was to, so staff would support the request to
Okay.
give them a little bit of time, and we can talk about how we might do that
Yeah.
when we close the public hearing.
Hey, you know it, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
All
do it.
right. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mark.
I'm
Yeah,
fine with
thank
that,
you.
yeah.
Is there was two other people that signed up on this for public hearing, but I'm not sure if they signed up on the right sheet or not, but it's a Richard Ogbin. Does that sound right? Richard Ogbin, O-G-B-I-N?
No.
Oh, okay. And the other name was a Tammy Scabina from Corvallis?
She received one of the awards from the Human
Awards,
Relations
okay.
Commission.
All right. Okay, with that, anyone else that would like to speak on this public hearing? Okay, with that, then I will close the public hearing at 7:35 PM. And council, what would you like to postpone the decision until the June 26th council meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to postpone the hearing until the date listed on the report.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Just clarifying, that'll be postponing the decision. That we just held the public
Well,
hearing, so it'll be postponing the decision.
Yep,
Yes.
Yep, till June 26th. Okay?
So how does it change who pays for it? Can you tell us that?
The property owners or the developers on either side of the creek will, under both, whether it goes goes through an LID or whether it goes through a private development agreement, the cost will be borne by the developer either way. It's just the mechanism at which it happens. I think it's in everybody's best interest for the private parties to come together and figure out how to build it themselves, and the city just stays out of it other than reviewing and inspecting the improvements consistent with our standard practices. The risk, so I think the motive behind moving forward with talking about forming the LID, the motive behind that was hopes that the developers would come together and figure out how to do this, and we wouldn't have to go through. So I think the intent and purpose behind each of the previous steps is playing out exactly as intended. And the delay here is, in the time where we would set up a development agreement, is not significant in time, but just for full disclosure, the risk that comes with that is if some lots were to sell and then the development agreement was to not go through, then you might have more property owners that you would be dealing with at that time. But the number would still be few in comparison to if we just let this progress through time and were to take action later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
The motion is to postpone till June 26th, a decision. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. All right, okay, thank you, Mark. And next is business from the public. Is there anyone that would like to bring an item forward? Yes, Ray?
Thank you, councilors. My name is Ray Hiltz. I live at 2748 Fox Club Loop, Southeast Albany 97322. The reason why I'm here tonight is to talk about a bill that's in the legislature, 770, and that has to do with health care in Oregon. Colorado, Vermont, the citizens overwhelmingly voted to have a single payer or health care for all their state. However, the financing of the program was not instituted because the legislature could not come up with a solution. Under House Bill 770, it does several things. It establishes a Universal Health Care Commission to develop findings and recommendations regarding implementing an equitable, affordable, comprehensive, high-quality, and publicly funded health care system for everyone residing in Oregon based on a single-payer model. Back 2 legislatures ago, the legislature authorized the RAND Corporation to do a study of 4 financing methods in the state of Oregon for funding health care. And the single payer was the one that was top of the list for savings and helping people. The legislature now is coming up with this commission, and the fundamentally organizing principles of the commission is based upon foundational principles of World Health Organization pertaining to a well-functioning system and principles and value detailed in the amendment. The charges of the commission is explicit. They assess the cost for a universal single-payer healthcare system with these characteristics: include everyone, is comprehensive in service, and allows choice of providers. It establishes a timeline for the commission. They will convene in November of this year, 2019. An interim report to the legislature is due in 2020 session. And then In 2021, they will submit official designs, assess costs, and propose revenue structure during that session of 2021. They will also get public comment and education efforts. And so we'll be learning more detail as far as costs and implementation of it. The commission includes 4 legislators and 13 other members appointed by the governor. They will come from social economic diversity, diversity of experience, and knowledge and beneficiary diversity. Now, the scope of the commission, it'll produce information and develop recommendations regarding important issues for healthcare system, including the following. Initial cost estimates for a single-payer system with the following characteristics. All Oregonian residents are eligible, as are non-residents who work full-time in Oregon. Participants may choose any health care provider or prepaid group practices who are licensed, certified, or registered in Oregon without pre-approval. A plan with and without the coverage of long-term care services. And the scope, also the nature of the governing board, legal issues that may constrain implementation, economic sustainability, operational efficiency, and cost control measures. Features necessary to continue to receive federal funding, options for revenue streams from a publicly financed system, fiduciary recommendations for the revenue generated, and the board's role in workforce needs. Guiding criteria to determine which healthcare services are necessary. One of the largest bankruptcies has to do with not paying medical bills. Last year, 2018, my medical expenses, which would include premiums, deductibles, co-pays, for my wife and I was $18,000. It's fortunate that I can afford it, but there are a lot of people, especially those that are not on a high-paying job, low-income people. I am pro-business, and I feel that the businesses, if this goes through by 2021, that it'll save the businesses quite a bit of money, because stats show that private versus the single payer, there's quite a difference in, as an example, approximately 18% of expenses through the private insurance companies, where Medicare veterans are around 2 to 3%. So we don't have to pay for advertising in a single payer. So anyway, what I would like from the council is maybe a resolution supporting Measure 770. I don't know how many of you know what the measure is, but you can find it on the internet. And so the group I am with, Healthcare for All of Oregon, the Albany chapter, would like a resolution from the council. And I will answer any questions you may have.
Okay, questions, Dick?
Yeah. Do you have a model resolution that we could consider?
Yes. And we're revising it a little bit, but I'll get it to you.
And can you tell me what the deadline for that would be?
The deadline?
Well, how? The best thing to do would be to send it off tomorrow, but that's not a possibility, of course.
No. Well, right now, it's in Ways and Means. And so we're trying to get it out of Ways and Means and onto the Senate floor.
Yeah, I doubt if we could do it before our next meeting.
Right, we would need to
Well,
have it in a resolution
Yes.
to take action, but if the council would like a resolution to come back, and then the council can take action on it at our next meeting, but that would be in June, before we could take care of that. But does the council want a resolution brought back?
I can't, I have to read the House Bill 7, whatever measure 770, because I sell insurance, and I'm astonished that you had to pay $18,000 last year. I don't see that with my clients. And so I still need to, I would like to read the proclamation.
I have long-term care also.
Okay, okay. So
The
I still would like,
premium is healthy.
okay, I understand that, but I'm just astonished what you paid. So for medical insurance, $18,000, but that includes your long-term care.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a clarification I needed to understand what you're paying. I would like to read 770. I'm not sure is that the right bill
Yes.
or measure? I'd love to have a copy of that.
Pardon?
So I would love to have a copy of that so I can read through it.
Okay.
So,
Sir, if I could give you a copy of my card, and if you would email me a copy of the resolution, the draft that you have, and that will give the councilors time to review 770 and then consider that draft at a later date.
Will do.
thank you, Ray.
Okay?
Yeah. I'd like to ask our manager, if this were to pass, would this relieve us of our, I would say extraordinarily high medical insurance costs that we're experiencing?
But like Councilor Johnson, I would have to look at, I can't answer off the top of my head right now if it would or not.
There,
I would think that it might.
right now, there is no answer as far as the cost. That's what this 770 is to find out if a single payer is the best way. Even though the RAND report said it is, this gets into being explicit. They're charged with coming up saying, yes, it is a good system, and these are what the costs are going to be.
Yeah.
So, well, my biggest concern about this whole thing is that the insurance companies, private or otherwise, they're going to fight.
Well, they'll fight too.
Absolutely.
They're going
They will
to, and
fight.
I'm just letting you know that it may take years for this to happen. I haven't seen the bill, but I would like to look at it, and I have a group of professionals that I work with. We consult each other on cases, and I can tell you right now that even the slightest change to what they have now is going to be, it has to be a national thing. So if this is a beginning of a movement, then I would definitely like to read it before I stand behind anything.
Right, I understand.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here, is
I appreciate
educate a
that.
little bit and ask if you would support it. And you'll hear from me more. And I haven't been here for a little while, but.
But I promise
Anyway.
you, I'll read the document and ask you questions about it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
I
appreciate
think
your
it
time
sounds like a
tonight.
good bill to really be able to find out whether single payer, for health insurance, healthcare for all is going to be a feasible and viable, solution too. I think it would be great to find out, and I'm kind of encouraged that the legislature is sort of considering this. If it is single payer, we could see maybe a significant cost savings with the city of Albany and within our budget too. If all cities do, that would be very encouraging. We could use all the help we could get on that. But, so I'm curious to see how that plays out. But yeah, if you can get it emailed to Peter, and then we
Yes, I
can
will.
get it to the council on the next agenda. It wouldn't be able to be till the, when is our first meeting in June? Let's see, I got it here.
Wednesday.
12th.
It'll be we could have it on the 10th for the work session, June
you.
10th. Yeah, I mean, if it's in Ways and Means, it might be
3 years.
past already them looking
Before
at the
then.
bill, but we'll know by then.
Right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Could I ask the manager or whoever, are we still projecting that about 15 to 17% of our property tax income is going to be spent on health insurance in the next year?
That figure that you heard was an increase in health insurance premiums. That's 17%.
So it is 17% of our income is going for that.
No, so it was an increase.
The cost of the premium.
Not the income.
Increase in our premiums.
So how much does that amount to?
Danette, would you happen to know what that figure is?
It's around 900,000.
Increase.
An increase. She said 900,000, about 900.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Councilor?
Yeah, can you tell me what percent of our income that amounts to? What is our present property tax income?
About 25 million.
33 million with everything counting urban renewal and all of parks and all of that.
That's.
General fund is
33.8.
about 43 million, the general fund.
Is that about 2%? 1%?
Yeah.
It's not
General
just
fund
the
is-
general fund that
Okay.
pays that.
No, yeah.
General
Okay, well, I
funds.
misunderstood
Yeah, it's
our
all
previous
water
discussion of how
bill.
much our health insurance is costing, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
PERS is going to cost about 33% of our income.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Well,
Including service.
well, actually, PERS is about, the 33% figure that you hear is 33% of the cost of a person is going to PERS. So that's up from about 25% last year.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Anyone else from business from the public? Yeah, yes, sir.
72 million, public works.
Total budget, 72 million.
I've never done anything like this before. My name is Lance Caddy. I'm a retired physician. I live in Lebanon, Oregon.
Can you spell your last name?
C-A-D-D-Y.
Okay.
In the early 60s, there was a science fiction writer named Kurt Vonnegut who wrote a book called Cat's Cradle. It told the story of a scientist who was interested in the science and didn't really care too much about its impacts on the rest of the world. He invented this, or he found this marvelous molecule that he affectionately called Ice-9. And Ice-9 was an interesting invention because it was essentially water which froze at 114 degrees and metastasized so that every other water molecule that it touched, it froze. It unfortunately got loose, and the consequences for the world in general were pretty dire. So right now we have Ice-9. It's called 5G, and it's currently hanging on every telephone pole in downtown Albany. It's also on every telephone pole in downtown Lebanon and throughout the community. It's also on every telephone pole in downtown Corvallis. In Roseburg also, I don't know about Eugene, the city of Portland, much though I differ with their politics, has put forth a resolution from its city council which says that Verizon and AT&T cannot distribute 5G until they've addressed or at least offered an opinion on the issue of the health impacts of 5G. We don't even know what the health impacts of 3G and 4G are, and they've been around for about 15 years. Although technically, and I'm not an electrician, I'm not a physicist. I don't know. There's a lot about this I don't know. I only became aware of this 3 weeks ago, and so I've done some research, and I actually have a list of links which sort of present sides of this issue, both positive and negative, that I'm prepared if you're interested.
You can hand it to the clerk.
Okay. So part of the problem is that 3G and 4G are both on these huge antennas that are every 2 to 3 miles apart, and they're 400 feet high. 5G has to be every 200 feet, and they're approximately 40 feet off the ground. And therefore, it was easy to not put these poles and these transmitters next to public schools, and et cetera, et cetera. If you look at the local public schools, you will find that every one of them is also surrounded by 5G transmitters. 5G only penetrates human tissue to a very shallow level. Little children their brains are behind a skull that is not as thick as the adult skull. Their nervous systems are very close to the surface as they're growing. So to distribute these around public schools, I think is to the detriment of our children. Everybody likes to play the children card, so there it is. But I think that the long-term consequences of 5G are unknown, and the telephone companies are very, there were hearings at Congress where they freely admitted that they had done no studies at all on the health effects of 5G. And so I'm making tours to the city council meetings of Corvallis, Albany, Lebanon, and Roseburg. Unfortunately, you all seem to meet on Wednesday night, and so that's kind of problematic. So anyway, you guys are my first stop. I don't know what my expectations are. I don't know what, but I think that there needs to be some statement or posture from the city of Albany that you are not interested in having this until there's some sort of safety studies done, because the long-term consequences of this are awful. 5G damages DNA. That's been demonstrated over and over again. It has an impact on the pollinators, the bees, notably, and it ruins our brains and our thought processes. All right. As I say, there's a lot of medical data out there which indicates that this is not the healthiest stuff. And my concern is we're not even sure what 3G and 4G do. There's no benefit to the public from 5G. It's all to the big corporations. And again, I'm a pro-business guy too. I believe in business. But I think that they're doing this with no concern, and they don't really care, because 20 years down the line, they'll all be retired with their golden parachutes. And when the consequences arise, they'll have no responsibility for it, and they'll say, oh gosh, we didn't know. But I think that if there could be some sort of concern expressed by the council, I think that would be a nice thing. It would be really sweet, in my opinion, if you could get together with the city councils of the smaller mid-valley cities, even including Eugene, if that were possible, to come up with some sort of resolution which says, gosh, Verizon and AT&T, we don't think it's a good idea for you to do this. As I say, you can walk out on the street corner and look up and down the street, and you can see these things hanging from the telephone poles. And what's also interesting to me is that nobody knows where they come from. Just all of a sudden, they're there. And what that says to me is they're doing this under cover of darkness, and there's more darkness here than just the physical darkness. So, that's pretty much what I have to say. I'm happy to entertain questions.
Yeah. So this is kind of a question to us that would take quite a bit of research, and I know I'm one that is clueless really to if there is, what types of impacts there could be with 5G. But it is something really, it needs to be done regionally, statewide, to really be putting that effort in. But unless the council thinks differently and would like to, take some sort of action on this or advocacy, it's up to the council.
What's real interesting is that in the EU, Brussels, which is the capital of the EU, has said that absolutely no, they cannot distribute 5G because the health impacts are unknown. What's also interesting is that it has been demonstrated that that DNA damage occurs at, and again, I'm not a physicist, but 8 megawatts per square centimeter. I think that's right. And those smart meters that PP&L has put on your house, most of them emit.
Fry you from 300 miles.
I'm sorry?
8 megawatts per square centimeter.
Yes.
That is a gigantic amount. That's more than you're gonna find right next to a radar
Okay,
transmitter. I mean,
maybe my units are wrong, maybe it's
Mayor?
milliwatts, I don't know.
Mayor, if I may, if he has information with links and so forth, why don't you give it to them and she can send it to the council, and I'll look at it, and there are a couple of people I've got, other people can look at it and see if it's supposed to be balanced. We can take a look at it and see.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right.
I've read similar stuff, that cell phones are perhaps kind of on the dangerous side. Thanks for bringing that.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Anyone else from business from the public? So, yes, sir. Uh-huh.
My name is Michael Fox. I live at 520 19th Street Northwest. I just wanted to build on Mr. Caddy's comments to offer one word of insight for the council to consider. In full disclosure, I happen to work for T-Mobile, a company which he did not list. And I just want to bring to the council's attention, in the event that you do choose to make some form of resolution, that each of the major carriers are defining 5G in different ways and exploring the technology in different ways. So be cautious not to paint with too large or too fine a brush. If you have concerns, explore them completely. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, anyone else from business from the public? So, yeah, Cameron?
Here we go.
My name is Cameron Settlemyer, 230 7th Avenue Southwest, Albany, Oregon. Reassigning appointment duties for the city commissions is outright wrong for a multitude of reasons. This is especially true for the Landmarks Commission due to a biased councilor's drive to disenfranchise the citizen volunteers of this city. The resolution under consideration for adoption tonight states in part, whereas it is in the best interest of the city of Albany to ensure that membership on the various boards, commissions, and committees is representative of the people in the community. Removing qualified landmarks commissioners for reconsideration because they live in the only ward with homes on a National Historic Register is not representative of the people in the community and not in the best interest of the city of Albany. Wanting to appoint people to landmarks that want to tear down our historic heritage goes against the very definition, scope, and purpose of landmarks and is not representative of people in the community. I am still waiting for a single example of landmarks not doing their appointed duty, a single example of not following local and state law if denying an application, a single example of bias. Nor has anyone given an example of bias in the way the mayor currently nominates volunteers for the council to approve, for landmarks or any other commission. The only bias in any of this is the bias by councilors to change landmarks from an impartial decision maker to one of cronyism. As the Oregon State Land Use Board of Appeals stated, an interested party in a quasi-judicial land use proceeding has a substantial right to an impartial decision maker. The court goes on to say, Kellen's lack of concern for his ability to serve as an impartial decision maker and his imputation that other decision makers were also biased does not demonstrate his ability to act as an impartial decision maker. Even if Kellen had stated that he would render an impartial decision, such a statement would not have cured his demonstrated actual bias. It is a shame that the rest of the city council appears ready to acquiesce to those that want to remove a citizen's right to an impartial quasi-judicial landmarks council under the false premise of better representation of people in the community.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Cameron. Anyone else from business from the public? All right, that's it. Okay, council, next you have a second reading of ordinance, and city attorney would like to read that?
An
Well, get up to the mic here. An ordinance amending the sections of Albany Municipal Code Title II, Administration and Personnel that relate to the city's boards and commissions, modifying the residency requirements for members to serve, increasing membership for select bodies, and reassigning appointment duties.
Okay. And any comments, or what would you like to do with this item?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
I plan to vote no on this unfortunate ordinance. I think it's unnecessary. I think the mayor's done an excellent job of appointing people that have the various skills for the Landmarks Committee, and I think it's too bad, unfortunate.
Thank you. Dick? So,
I would
and,
encourage a no vote.
okay, anything else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. All right. And I will just have to state on this, I do think this is very, very unfortunate. I think this was kind of geared and targeted towards our landmarks, which was how we've had these boards and commissions over the years has not been an issue, and then all of a sudden there's one issue, and then it's like, you know, throw them all out. So it's very unfortunate. And I also feel it's just, and I won't say anymore. Okay, next would be adoption of a resolution towards that, but I didn't get any in front of me. Did you? Over the boards and commissions? I just have two ordinances. Do the council have the resolutions in front of them on the dais?
Yes.
Yes.
I see the ordinance, but I don't see the resolution.
They weren't in the packet, and I don't see them on the back.
So can we cancel those? We can't see it.
It's in your electronic packet.
I have a resolution right here, on page 42.
Oh, you're right, it is in the electronic.
Yeah, it starts on 39.
Right.
You want to see that?
No, it's fine.
Pages 42 and 44.
I do want to say, when it comes to the modifying, it really puts me in an uncomfortable position that it's, the way it's laid out, then I have my appointment when I already appointed everybody, and I don't want any members feeling that I am just selecting one out of the whole, a whole board or commission. And also, when this all started, it would have been nice to have had a notificational letter sent to every one of our boards and commission members that this was in the works and taking place. A lot of the members do not know. Okay, what would you like to do for the resolution?
Which one?
Well, the first one in front of you, number 1.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Rich moved and Alex seconded, and that passed with Dick Olson voting
Yep.
no.
Yep.
Mhm. Okay, number 2.
Move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye. I think, again, it's an unfortunate resolution.
Yes, it is, I agree. Okay, next is supporting an application to the State of Oregon's Transportation and Growth Management. This is a resolution in front of you. Is there staff report or not?
No, I can answer questions if there are any, but I think we've talked about it quite a bit over the last couple months.
Okay. What do you want to do, council?
I read this, sir. I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, adoption of the consent calendar. If there isn't any items that need to be pulled off this evening, I'll entertain a motion.
I do want to ask for one change. Can these be updated so my last name is the second? Because Officer Alex Johnson's been getting emails that are meant for me, and I would hate for people to think that he's speaking when they reference Alex Johnson in here. I just don't want to put the officer in a weird position. Because people read these and they don't realize that there is a police officer named Alex Johnson in the city.
Is that on our force?
Well, it's more, so Alex Johnson, our police officer, most likely would not be receiving as many emails. I wonder if his middle initial can be put in on his email.
Well, Marilyn and I have been talking about, my number 2 is at the end of my name. I think people that are typing it in are forgetting to put the 2, or they don't see the city email address. I think that's part of the problem.
But I think they could still forget to do that anyway on an email, that maybe if Officer Johnson's could be whatever his middle name is, Alex dot, middle initial dot Johnson, if that would make it easier. Because, if you don't want other type of political things coming to one of our police officers.
I totally agree.
Oh.
So since he's been doing this public thing longer than I would put my middle initial D. I mean, if that was something that would be feasible.
Yeah. I don't see any problem with putting the 2 on the end of his name.
Well, it is on the end of my name, but people aren't using it.
They're not using it, and I can see them not doing that. They just would put Alex dot Johnson. But if maybe, staff can maybe work on that.
The email can be anything. We can talk to Officer Johnson and change his email. I have the same issue with George Salan. He gets a lot of my emails, and I get a lot of his emails.
Yeah.
Because people just type the SALA, and they see the same first name.
Right.
And they send him my stuff, and I receive stuff for cases that I have to send to him.
And Holly Roten has a saying with her husband, Tom Roten, who's a police officer. So it just takes the sender a couple of times to get a bounce back saying, hey, this is the wrong Johnson.
So we just leave it alone as it is?
I think so. I mean, when Alex Johnson, police officer, gets something that's obviously intended for you, he'll probably send it to you and say, or send it back to the sender and say, you got the wrong Johnson.
Okay.
Problem is if it's a timely item.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But Alex
have a way out.
Alex is more apt to get more of the junk mail type stuff to come through, that then you don't want Alex Officer Johnson receiving that. But,
We can certainly talk to Officer Johnson to see if he is, has a preference for a different email address, and we can try to address it that way. So let us work on that one.
Okay. So in other words, that's not a change of the consent calendar.
No.
So,
I just wanted to let people know that that's a problem for him and me.
okay, is there a motion?
Move. Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, and next is award of bid, Vine Street Water Treatment Plant, and I see Stacy's here.
Word of it.
Good evening. Staff is recommending that council award a bid in the amount of $864,600 to the low bidder, McClure & Sons of Mill Creek, Washington, for the Vine Street Water Treatment Plant Accelerator Improvements Project. We received 2 bids for this project, ranging from the low bid up to approximately $898,000. So this project includes various improvements to the 2 accelerators that are located at our Vine Street Water Treatment Plant. Accelerator is the trade name for the solids contact classifiers. They're used to remove solids from the water during the treatment process. Are there any questions?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, motion's been made in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you, Stacy. Are you the next one, too?
I am. So this project is, staff is recommending council award a contract in the amount of $4,476,379 to the low bidder, K&E Excavation. They're from Salem, Oregon, and this is for the Cox Creek Interceptor Improvement Projects, the first phase. We received 2 bids in response to the request for bids for this project. They ranged from the low bid up to approximately $4.7 million. This is the first phase of the Cox Creek Interceptor Sewer Projects. It includes construction of approximately 2,400 feet of large diameter sewer line that'll be built between the Albany Millersburg, Water Reclamation Facility and Salem Avenue, just north of Waverly Lake. Are there any questions?
Questions?
No.
I don't have any.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Dick?
Does Millersburg help pay for this?
They do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Percentage-wise, how much?
10%.
5, 10,
probably.
15?
Yeah.
They're 10% ownership.
There's STCs, right?
Yeah.
Nice to have them pay for something.
Well, but it doesn't cover them.
Well, except, Cox Creek Interceptor, I don't know if it would.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's
No.
true. No.
No, because it's not, they're of the treatment plants.
Yeah.
10% ownership of the treatment plants. So, except for our Vine Street.
Yeah, the previous project, I believe they paid a portion for.
Okay,
So our sewer users are paying for it.
Well, yeah. We're the only ones using it.
okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Last, we have appointing Peter D. Carteret to the Traffic Safety Commission.
Move to appoint.
What is he?
Okay,
Doesn't need a difference.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. Business from the council. Bill? Anything? No? Dick?
No.
Okay, Rich?
Nope.
Alex?
Not at this time.
Okay, Mike?
No.
Okay, and I didn't have anything. And Peter?
I just wanted to let you know that tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock, it's hard to believe that the Southeast Asian Fellows have been here for 4 weeks, but there'll be a farewell reception for them at Gambaretti's tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock.
I'll be there.
Is there a meeting tomorrow night with Eric, whatever?
No.
Okay.
Okay, is anything else, staff? So, okay, our next meeting date would be Monday, June 10th for work session, and the 12th would be regular session. With that, we're adjourned. Thank you, folks.